Okay, I've soldered all the motors to the ESCs. As you can see, I'm going to show you one. Alright, there you go. So that's soldered in there. And then what I'm going to do is, if you notice, I told you about the heat shrink that I was going to add to it. So you can see here, this one, I haven't did it, and this one, you can see that I put the heat shrink right here on the end. Okay. Also, this is the motor direction. This is my Dragonfly 32, and facing forward, this is the front of the quad, front of the board. This is your USB connection. Motor 1 will be the power for the quad, and I'll only use the signal for 3, 2, and 4 motor. So what I'll be doing is removing the red and the black wire from this sleeve here, and what I'll do is I'll heat shrink them and then pin them back to here. Probably tape them or something. But anyway, and so that'll be on motor 2, 3, and 4. These are the directions, okay, of the motors, as you can see by the arrows. And also, what I've already done, which I'm going to demonstrate to you, I marked on, I don't know if you can see it, I marked the direction of the motor on the bottom of the arm. And then what I'm going to do is, alright, so this motor, you see the direction here. So this motor, if I turn it down, direction is that way. So this would be number 2. Okay? So we're going to mark this number 2 on the bottom 2. Okay, and I'm going to set this one right there. Then I already did this one, and the direction is that way. So if I flip it back over, the direction is that way. Alright, so we're going to call this one number 4. I'm going to set this one right here. And I did the direction on this one, and you see the arrow is going that way. Let's turn it this way. Alright, direction is going that way, so I flip it over, it's going that way. And so we want to turn this one around. So now the arrow is going this way, which will be this way. So we're going to mark this number 3. Okay. And of course, this one, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how I check the direction of the motors to be sure, because you want to be sure. So I've got a battery here. Now you can do this with a servo tester, but I don't have one. So I've got a spare receiver. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this receiver, plug it into the throttle channel. Make sure my polarity is correct. Alright, so my black goes on the top. I'm going to plug that in. Okay. Right, let's move this up a little bit. And then I'm going to turn on my transmitter.
Welcome to Free Sky Tyrannus. Throttle warning. Low rates. Throttle disabled.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do, connect the ESC to the battery. Make sure you get the polarities right, negative Negative, positive to positive. Okay, you can see that my receiver is bounded.
Throttle active.
And I'm gonna see which way this goes. Alright, so we're turning this way. Alright, so this motor is spinning this way. So it's spinning this way. So my arrow will go that way. Now I'll mark it. Turn off my transmitter. So now that this motor is going that way, flip it over, that means it's going this way, and that's the way. So this would be my number one motor. So this one will have all three wires because it has to power the board here. Okay, and what I'll be doing next is I'll be connecting all of my power leads to my power distribution board, connecting my battery connector to the distribution board. So I'll put all that, set all that up right here. All this will be connected to the board. Okay, and then we'll do a final check with the to make sure everything is functioning properly. Also, I'll go ahead and put the heat shrink on the rest of the ESCs to cover up the leads that I soldered on. And then after that means we'll be moving on to the assembly of the actual frame. Okay, YouTube. Alright, so I got the frame here. I'll show you that in a minute. But just going to let you know that I'm not going to use these spacers. I'm going to keep this to the stock bundle that I got as close as possible. Except for I'm not going to use the metal standoffs. And the reason being is I'm going to use these nylons. And the nylons, they give a little bit more. So in crashes, they'll bend or act like shock absorbers and even break before you break your carbon fiber frame. Not saying that it's going to save you from really, really bad crashes, but it will help a lot. So, alright, what I got out here is some screws because I'm going to have to do my top. I'm having to do the top plate here. Okay, this is the bottom plate that will go up under everything, and this is the top plate. And then I got my tie wraps so I can tie down my ESCs. And so let me show you what I did. Now this is just my idea. You know, there's other ways to do this and easier ways to do this, but I decided to just go ahead and solder everything to my distribution power distribution board. And then feed it through this middle hole here. Let's take this frame and you can see. So I fed everything up through here. So this would go up under everything, and this is the bottom plate where the where my flight controller and everything will be mounted to here from these standoffs right here. Okay, so yeah. This is just the way that I decided to do it. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. It's really to your preference of how you want to build it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the standoff on this plate for the. Okay, I just wanted to show you how far I got. Okay, so I've put ties on all the motors, and If you notice, there's double spacer. The top spacer is it's for the flight controller. Okay, let me show you what I did with the bottom. If you notice right here, you see I fed these through and then tie wrapped them right here and here, and I brought the tie wrap to the top, so this square piece here is at the top, so it won't interfere when I put the bottom plate on. When I put this plate on, it won't be a lot protruding. Also, what I did, I just went on and tightened down. I put 2 screws in each one and just tightened down one so the arm would be flat against this. Why I tied these wires, it was much easier. Now I'll just take them out and put the plate on. So, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I put my top spacers on. Make sure you don't over tighten them because you will strip them. Even for the metal ones, you know, make sure you don't over tighten. All right. So now I'll just move on and put the bottom plate on here and feed the servo wire through. Okay, first, before I get started here, for my video, I'm using the Hobby King combo pack, and I made a YouTube video about this, the unboxing. And so it comes with the 200 milliwatt transmitter, the camera that's encased, and then the receiver for your base station. These are 32 channels, and then also it comes with 2 cloverleaf antennas. Okay, so what I did, I took the camera and I mounted it, I velcroed it down already. Okay, and if you noticed, I moved it back away from this plate here, and the reason being is when you crash, if you mount it all the way flush with the plate, then the lens sticks out, and when you crash, the first thing that's hit is your camera lens and you'll break it. So a lot of guys are starting to move their cameras back so that the lens will be clear of the front of the frame, and it helps a lot on that. Okay, and also I cut my battery cables, and also I fit my ESC leads through that will connect to the control board. And with the battery, a lot of people have the battery come out the back and up and around, and then I've seen some guys that actually feed it through this hole here, and I decided to go that way with this build. So I'll feed it through, and the connector going here, and then I just put my battery in, and I can take it and connect it across the top and velcro it down, or on the side and velcro it down. So that's the way I'm going to do on this build. And also, I prepped the top plate to receive my video transmitter. I'm going to mount my video transmitter right here on the bottom here, like that. And then I'm going to use this extension, and this is screw into the transmitter, and then I drilled out, there was a little hole here, and I drilled it out bigger so that I can put the extension right through here, and my antenna mount right here on the back, like that. Okay, so that's a good thing. And I'm using the D4R2 FreeSky, and with telemetry, and this will be mounted right under the battery on the top plate. So my video will be on the bottom plate, and my receiver will be mounted up under the top plate. The antennas will come out right here. So let's move on to the flight controller. It's time to prep the flight controller. Pull out the pins here. So if you order this from Multi-Rotor Mania, then you can request what type of pins you want. They could be the straight pins or the right angle pins. So however you want them for your build, you just let them know when you order your flight controllers. All right. So let's go over this flight controller. Zoom in here. See if we can get in here. Come on, zoom in. There we go. Almost. There we go. Okay. The USB is the back, and opposite of the USB is the front of the flight controller and your quad. I'm going to rotate mine this way because you saw that my leads come out in the front. So, and let me tell you about the connections. These connections on this side has 6 connections. This is for the output to your motors and to your ESCs, and this first one next to the bat is number 1 motor, number 2 motor, number 3 motor, number 4 motor, number 5 motor, number 6 motor. But we're only using 4 motors because this is a quad. And then right here is your bat connection, and make sure you pay attention to the polarities. The positive is on this side, and then this is for your beeper. And the positive is on the opposite side, so make sure you pay close attention to that. Then, this is your signal side, and this is where we'll be doing our CPM coming in, and from the FreeSky, and it'll be connected to this first set of pins here, okay? And then on number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is where we'll pick up our telemetry, which I'll go over that later on. And then if you're running a OSD board, if you're going to put OSD onto your quad, and say that you're using a different receiver, then where it says RT here, let's see if we can zoom in on it. All right, right here is where you run to your OSD. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put these pins on here. They're already pre-cut. Those guys are great over there at Multi-Rotor Mania. They make things so easy for you. And we'll put that one on. I'm not going to have a telemetry board, so I'm not going to put that one in, but I am going to put the battery and the beeper connectors in, and I'm not going to use the telemetry because I'm going to just have the telemetry on my Tyrannus, okay, display. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and solder this in and get ready for the next step.